We all face these huge, complicated decisions. It could be for a business, a big project, maybe even a personal goal. It is so easy to get completely lost in all the details. But what if you had a simple compass to point you in the right direction? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dig into today.
I mean, think about it. You're staring at this massive challenge, right? There are dozens of things to consider, all pulling you in different directions. How in the world do you cut through all that noise and find a clear path forward? It's a question every single leader has to answer. And you know what? The answer isn't some super complex algorithm or a 1,000-page report. It's actually a surprisingly elegant framework that just organizes your thinking. It brings the most important factors into sharp focus. Yeah, you've probably heard that term thrown around before, but today, we're really going to break down what it is, exactly how it works, and how you can use this incredibly powerful tool to make smarter, way more informed decisions. All right, so first things first, let's get on the same page and really define this thing. What is a SWOT analysis? And why does this simple little acronym hold so much strategic power? So at its heart, a SWOT analysis is a strategic planning technique. It's designed to help you identify 4 key things: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And the key here is that this isn't about wishful thinking or just guessing. It's meant to be a totally honest, fact-based look at where you stand right now and what's coming down the pike. The real magic of SWOT is in its 4 quadrants. Each letter, S, W, O, T, stands for a critical area you need to be thinking about. So let's deconstruct this thing piece by piece. First up, we've got S for strengths. These are your internal advantages. Think about it. What are you awesome at? What do you do better than anyone else? Maybe you've got an amazing brand that people love, or a super loyal customer base. It could even be some unique technology that is your secret sauce. These are the assets you really want to lean into. Next, W, weaknesses. Okay, this is where you have to be brutally honest with yourself. These are the internal factors that are holding you back. Maybe it's too much debt, a clunky supply chain, or you're just short on cash. Acknowledging your weaknesses is the absolute first step to actually overcoming them. Okay, now we're going to look outside the building, so to speak. O is for opportunities. These are the favorable things happening out in the world that you could potentially take advantage of. For instance, maybe a new market is opening up, or some new technology comes along that fits perfectly with what you do. These are the tailwinds you want to catch. And on the flip side of that, you've got T for threats. These are the things lurking out there that could really cause you problems. Think about rising costs for materials, new government regulations, or the big one, a tough new competitor jumping into your space. These are the risks you have to get ready for. And this right here, this brings us to the crucial idea that really makes SWOT so useful. Strengths and weaknesses are internal. They are things that are largely within your control. But opportunities and threats, those are external. They're forces out in the market that you have to react to. Getting that distinction is absolutely key. Okay, so the theory is great, right? But how do you actually do one of these things? Let's get practical and walk through the 5 basic steps to building your own SWOT analysis. It all starts with a clear objective. You've got to know why you're doing this in the first place. Then you gather your resources. That means data, but just as importantly, it means getting the right people in the room. From there, you brainstorm ideas for each of the 4 boxes, then you refine everything down to what really matters, and finally, you use all that insight to build an actual strategy. Now, to get the ideas flowing for each of those boxes, the trick is just to ask the right questions. It's kind of like a cheat sheet for brainstorming. For strengths, you might ask, what's our biggest asset? For threats, what are our competitors up to that we should worry about? Asking these kinds of questions really gets the conversation going. Look, I know this can all feel a little abstract, so let's make it super concrete. We're going to apply this exact framework to a company I think we all know, Tesla. This is where it gets really interesting. So let's start with Tesla's strengths. This is the easy part, right? First off, their brand is just iconic. They are the pioneer in the EV space. Their battery technology is top-notch, giving them a real performance edge. And that huge supercharger network, that is a massive competitive advantage. But of course, it's not all perfect. They have some pretty significant internal weaknesses too. They have famously struggled to scale their production to meet all that demand. There have been ongoing chatter about quality control, and let's face it, their cars carry a premium price tag, which can limit their market. Now, looking outside the company, the opportunities are just huge. I mean, the global demand for electric vehicles is absolutely exploding. They can also take their battery tech and expand into energy storage and solar. And of course, the giant opportunity of developing fully autonomous driving. The potential is massive. And finally, we have to look at the threats. And believe me, they are very real. Competition is heating up like crazy, with almost every legacy automaker throwing billions into EVs. As a luxury item, their sales could get hit hard in an economic downturn. And, like everyone else, they're vulnerable to supply chain problems for things like lithium.
And there you have it. When you put it all together in this simple grid, you suddenly get this incredible 360-degree view of the whole strategic picture. But this isn't the end of the exercise. This is where the real work begins. The magic happens when you connect the dots. For example, Tesla can use its strength in battery tech to jump on the opportunity in energy storage, which in turn helps protect them from the threat of all that automotive competition. See how it works? The analysis leads to action. So now that you've seen it in action, let's wrap up with a few pro tips and a few common mistakes to avoid to make sure your own SWOT analysis is as powerful as it can possibly be. The real beauty of SWOT is its simplicity and its flexibility. It takes these monster problems and cuts them down to size. It forces you to look outside your own bubble, and you can apply it to almost any question you have. And the best part? It doesn't have to cost a fortune to do. But I gotta warn you, there are a few traps that people fall into all the time. The biggest one is not being objective, being too optimistic about strengths and not honest about weaknesses. Another huge one is doing it all by yourself. You need different points of view. And please, don't just do it once and forget about it. This should be a living document you come back to. So there it is, a powerful, straightforward framework for finding clarity. It really is a compass for navigating complexity. You have the tool now. The only question left is, where are you going to point it first?